Hi, everybody. This is going to be the Daily Dharma. My name's Dina. Thanks for all who are joining today, whether new or returning. I certainly appreciate you stopping by and checking out the vibes. So let's see what we're talking about today. I've got a few Tao Te Ching messages that were showing themselves earlier. Something about non-competing and the difference between success and failure. And what is the difference, really? If we do or don't do the thing, we're still this being in this state of becoming. So maybe the message is to enjoy the journey. Let's see. So we have number 23, dynamic, and divine feminine coming out with delight underneath. Yeah, enjoyment. So dynamic today wants to talk about chaos and immersed in chaos and climbing the ladder of success or whatever else, the family dynamics, every element of life is constantly calling and asking for our attention and navigation. And it can be exciting. It can become stressful, can induce some anxiety, because the flow of life, it seems to be that there might be some down periods, but then there will be this escalation where all of a sudden everything wants our attention for one reason or another. So through the busy and calmer periods of life, the crisis management here, it's almost like we need to infuse a little bit more playtime and fun into our lives here. And before we went on camera, I brought out my cup of coffee, and I thought, it's too bad that this went cold, but I'm going to enjoy the hell out of it anyways. And, that can be kind of synonymous with our life. The coffee would be better hot, but it's not. What do? You stop enjoying life because, this coffee got cold? Well, that's what it does. Seize the day. I love that cup. Let's see what else. Well, actually, before we go on, I want to read you the card that's here, number 13. And the cards in the code cards so far are 23 dynamic, 21 divine feminine, 19 delight. Skipping numbers, and then we have 13. Success is as dangerous as failure. Their hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. It's superficial. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. Will you? What does it mean that hope is as hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms that arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as the self, what do we have to fear? See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way things are. Love the world as yourself. Then you can care for all things. So it's interesting. We could go in so many directions, and please pause and meditate on that if you need to in reverse. But the things that are jumping out at me is up the ladder, down the ladder, hope and fear. It's, to me, talking about the emotional frequencies and the way that certain situations and emotional broadcasting can reduce the frequency level, perhaps a trigger, going from that delight phase all the way down to shame. For instance, shame, I believe, is like 20 hertz, is it? And I think that what we're talking about here is when we can maintain our own grounded nature and um, invest in our own well-being, then the phantoms of fear or hope are just that, they're illusions. And in this too, it's like esteeming ourselves by the external validation of achievement or some level of fame or fortune that we can quantify our input. Like, look, I mattered, I made a bunch of money, I drove a fast car, and I was a football hero back in the day. But life doesn't end in high school. And you may know someone or be someone who's looking back at the good old days or looking forward to, oh, well, when I get that fast car, then I'll be happy. And we're taking the power back from those externalized senses of self. Who is the self behind the self that wants those things? And will we be happy in having the fast car when we can't be happy right now, when things are simple and we don't have a huge payment? So what is there really to fear? That we're not going to get there? um, when you see the world as evidence of yourself, we're out here, we're playing with ideas of having and doing and being and not having and not doing and not being. And we can almost, in that way, I want to, something about virtual reality is popping in. Like maybe you can test the waters and play like you have it differently just by creating an attitude of gratitude and a sense of well-being by being more thrifty and simplifying, maybe selling off an old item that is actually quite valuable but no longer brings you joy and delight. And by shifting and flowing, having faith that you're where you're at right now, you can kind of start to appreciate the way that things are. You can play around with the sense of delight now, and in that way, not build resentments against those who seem to have it figured out, because none of us here are 100% with that. Merkaba is 32 and dynamic is 23. So it's kind of like the chaos that is, see how this one looks almost, it's angular, and I see it in the moment as being almost rigid and implosive. And it's talking about how the chaos is kind of, it's always coming in. And then in our fears and hopes, how we're navigating that situation. I need to pause for the cause here. Appreciate you guys letting me do that. You had no choice, right? So it's as though this one is the implosiveness, and what we do with that becomes our aura and our beingness, our emanation. And being in that attitude of gratitude despite the storms of life allows our energy field to be boosted by being in delight, at least in acceptance and in capacity, knowing that despite any evidence we could dig up on ourselves that we have shortcomings or lack of resources, there are equal and opposite energies that can be engaged at this point to really magnetize the blessings. And it's putting yourself in receptive mode for the outcome that you desire. So by envisioning these things, it's a method of manifestation where utilizing your consciousness to expand and elevate the field into the receptive mode here. It utilizes any type of chaos energy and puts it in our hands. So, okay, so I didn't quite say the thing that I was going to say. It's about acting as though we already are abundant, which is truth, magnetizes greater abundance. By not hoarding and fearing lack, we can let go of some of the things that have weighed us down, even if these are physical items. I'm looking around at all the things I have, and I'm being told to reassess. And I think that this is an internal process that's evidenced by the environment. So, anyways, into the receptive mode. Let's see what we get from the archetype deck. Splitting the deck to the mother and the offering. So I'm kind of seeing somebody paying respects to Mother Earth, or in the moment when I said it that way, it almost seemed like a grave. Perhaps somebody's mother figure in spirit. The mother and the sustainer come out here. You could also be like a mother to the world, and with that, the flame and the hunter popped out. That is number 9 for the hunter and 51 for the flame. So this to me, it's almost like being drawn forth, being called forth, and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And the sustainer and the mother, and there's also something here showing the healer. Okay, the healer and the mother. You may be healing after having some type of loss, whether it's a person, a job, a way of being, a sense of identity, reminding me, going back to that, well, when I was in high school, blah, blah, blah. Or when I was in this situation, I didn't realize how good I had it. I see this in the moment. Sometimes I see this as like the anatomical heart, though it looks nothing like it. It just appears that way. But right now, it's like a ball of clay in this individual's hands. So there's, okay, yeah, so nurturing ourselves, self-care, the mother, being our own mother and father, to pursue our own enlightenment, developing the inner core, the inner flame, sustaining that vibration and sustaining our lives, and continuing to move through our lessons and our knowledge here. And instead of continuing to seek that external validating resources or feedback loop from the past, it's as though we've learned how to sustain ourselves through the nourishment of the Great Mother and the cosmic flow here. So we've healed our resonance here, and it doesn't mean that we're never going to dip back down into ways of being like we used to, but there's more here. Hunter and the flame. So something else is catching our attention. We get wind and blade. So to me, this is a cleansing, the winds of change, and the blade is both clearing and cleansing our own energy, releasing expectations and residues from old circumstances and interactions, clarifying our own inner flame. And I get with that completion with the blade. The circle and the blade to me reminds me of the cup and the athame, and that may be part of your practicing. You may be a practitioner of some type of I guess the symbol to me represents the masculine feminine union and the ability to harness both of those to find direction in life. So the completion card also shows me that it's a a portal or a compass or a redirection potentially. And this in the center here almost looks like a throat, or some other things may come to mind. And this usually reminds me of an eyeball, but it's it's got some moons drawn across it as well. It's a cleansing and clearing tool, and so it's kind of telling me that we have the potential to heal ourselves, to complete this cycle finally, and to call in our healing herald of change, the horseman. Absolutely. And look at how that daybreak, that light ahead, is calling forth. So I like that. And over here we have the blade still. There's a lot of things showing here. And I see that the underneath card, I believe, is the beloved. Yep, radical acceptance. So there's two horses showing themselves. So the horseman herald of change is shown as a feminine here, and it maybe somebody, year of the horse or something like that, maybe somebody who's about 30 years old or so. Two, beloved, radical acceptance. And over here, blade. So there's potentially relationships that are needing to be cleansed and cleared as well, ways of being that we have engaged in here, parental relationships that have been modeled that we've been working through here. But I think that you are being shown as having some new pursuit, having to do with your own healing journey and sharing that with others. So this sustainer energy too, to me, it's like assisting others through the chaos and the storms of life, through your balanced and expanded consciousness. And some may be on a twin flame journey. I'm seeing the flame, the hunter, the two horses are mirroring, and the beloved is all flamed up. The sustainer and the healer. So, okay, two. All right, so yeah, the hunter seems to me the masculine influence. And if you need to switch around genders, do so. The sustainer is someone who is very good at keeping things going, maybe a manager, a boss, or somebody who manages their life in a certain way, methodical, practical, grounded individual, where the healer energy over here is a three-headed snake. And so it represents that the ability to plant seeds and to cultivate and protect those seeds, to utilize the wisdom and healing process, and to protect that new life coming in, if you can get something out of that. We split this deck here to balance and unity. So yeah, this healer energy, I would suspect, is part of the unity consciousness movement, working very much in the angelic realms or the psychic realms. If you need to switch that, do so. It's an earth keeper. This came up yesterday with the unity card. It's guided and protected union here through the balancing of the polarities within and without. And so if this is part of your journey, it looks like there's just some cleansing and clearing that needs to be done. Perception and balance. So you're seeing this need to rebalance things and taking control of that. One more, brilliance. That's one of my more favorite cards in this deck. brilliance and balance. Yeah, this epiphany, use of your inner healing potential and capacity to shift your own vibration changes everything. So yeah, alchemy and balance. So alchemical shift, being more moderate. These are thick cards. Moderation tells me that there's a need to both balance and ground and release, cleanse, and to ground the chaos in a new way. It's the ability to transmute and to cleanse and clear your own energies on a regular basis that will help you to be the one who can sustain this. And it's even like not giving up on that cup of coffee, that delightful treat. There's something here that people are loyal to, people are very engaged with. There's an expectation of renewal. Yeah, the individuals here are facing each other somewhat. So they're both looking up to the sky here, but look at the winged elements here. There's a lot of thought and perception and belief and prayerful engagement. And it appears that both individuals are moving into this flame here. We've got flame, we've got the beloved heart burning, this burning hand. And yesterday, that, where was it at? The angel card showed itself with the unity, and it was also shown with the heat card, which seems like things are heating up for you, even if it seems like things have gone cold. It's up to you to revolutionize yourself here. I'm seeing that lotus in her hand that's almost melting is releasing points, forgiving, transforming the energy, forgiving and releasing the past, and reaching some spiritual developmental level, a new level. And one more here. Okay, I pulled two. Renewal and fortitude. So those are great masculine, feminine energies. So it looks like there's a lot of changes going on within this relationship, but just because someone is more the sustainer type, perhaps more practical, and I'm hearing there may be differing love styles engaged in. Maybe one person has, or both people clearly would be influenced from their background in their expression of love and also their unique individual way. So this one individual is experiencing their own levels of spiritual alignment through 3D earthly realm engagement with the animal kingdoms and the plant and earth kingdoms here, where this individual seems to be a little more cosmic, a little more aware of the energies. So they're great polar oppositional forces. And if we're talking about the magnetism above here, that shift into being blessed and not stressed, to blessed to be stressed, creates the necessary renewal here. So yeah, she looks like she has a plan. She looks very calm and reflective and engaged in that. So there's a lot of divine feminine energy here with that card here. She, the feminine energies within us, by engaging in that delight energy, it's the leveling up of our energetic baseline that begins to shift things into being able to connect with other individuals through a sense of appreciation and not that nagging energy or blaming energy. Oh, yeah. Okay, there's our cards. I was noticing this morning that one of the individuals I follow on YouTube, Patrick Tehan, I think it's LICSW, as in licensed social worker. He does a lot on family dynamics and the dynamics of others. And this thing he said, I hope I don't mess it up. It says something like, we can't heal with our partners if we're still blaming them for basically the sins of our parents. So this seems to be kind of coming up here, is that some types of negative projecting or interaction here or scarcity dilemmas have caused us to be fearful and cold and rejecting when we really want to be warm and hot. And if something has gone cold, perhaps your coldness is related to something that needs to be shifted, something that needs to be able to release and to melt away through some type of cleansing process. You were born with that it quality. Prepare to be astounded. Oh, yeah. No two flowers are the same, yet all are beautiful in their own way. Comparisons are odious because they presume all other things are equal, which is never the case. Between me and you, the universe. So don't compare each other to the past because you are in a state of becoming. And don't itemize out everything that somebody has done in the past when it's been spoken about. Create that resolution and then let that stuff go if you can. Love is never in vain. When you finally see what this whole time-space thing is all about, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, and you are going to be so happy that you loved as much as you did, dotingly, the universe. So yeah, don't get lost in the comparisons or the fear of abandonment or rejection, or is this true or is this not? It doesn't matter if we succeed or we fail. It doesn't matter if we're in a relationship and that thing is meaningful to us. We owe it to the situation to really dive in with both feet and not be hypervigilant that they are the embodiment of our fears or our bully or our whatever. But on the same regard, we also do need to, for many of us, not to repress and subvert all of the things that are arising, or else we will continue to subconsciously fear and engage in that shadowy element that creates distance and chilly atmospheres between lovers and friends. We need to speak up about something that does bother us. Hey, when you said that thing, it really hit me wrong. And sometimes I don't know if it's my fear that you meant something by it, or if you did mean something by it. But let me be curious instead of assumptive about that and assume the worst and defense mechanism up on you and project and withdraw. Let me lean into this and say, it's seeing the other people as they have the same thing going on as you in some regard. And so if something is valuable to you, you're the one that has the potential to sustain that and to revolutionize any faulty dynamic that's been rearing its ugly head or simmering below the surface. By casting your light upon it, you can call it forth into the light and say, I banish the illusions and the deluded thinking. I have what it takes. I was born with the it quality to shift that divine energy and to renew the circumstance into love and not fear. So that sounds amazing. I got some chills on that one. I hope that that resonates with you. So I'm going to break us there. Take care of you and check back in for some more messages. All of my messages are intended to be timeless. So take care. Bye.